Hey, hi, how's it going? It is 5:30 in the morning and I've already had my coffee and I've gotten ready for the day and we are in the garden and I am so excited to be in the garden one last time before a big problem is taken care of. So I've got a couple things I want to do in the garden today. I've got some things that I need to get cut back, and then I have some sweet potato vine that I would like to get planted today. But I'm really excited because today's video is sponsored by Terminix, and they're going to come out here and they're going to help with our mosquito problem that we've had. I have been talking to you guys for what feels like months now about how early the mosquitoes came out and how big of a problem it has been this year. It's been just awful, and I'm not typically somebody who gets bit by mosquitoes at all. And this year I'm noticing the mosquitoes because I'm getting bit by them. Usually Brent gets bit by them a million times during a season, and this time it started really early. It's been really fast. It's been a huge population of mosquitoes, and they're even starting to go after me, and I'm even finding them going after Freya, and it just worries me a little bit. So Terminix is sponsoring today's video, and they're going to come out here and they're going to help us get rid of our mosquito problem. And I'm so excited because it's going to mean that I can come out in the mornings and I can come out in the evenings and I don't have to get bit anymore or worry about Brent or Freya getting bit by mosquitoes, because it's been a really rough year with mosquitoes. And it's the time of year when I have to get out here at about 5:30 is when I'm trying to get out here. Sometimes it's 6, but I have to get out here super early. I can only be out here till about 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it's already heated up really hot, really fast, and then I can't come back out here till about 8 o'clock at night. and unfortunately, 5 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night are the mosquitoes' prime times in the garden. So it's made it not great to be out here at those times. But this is gonna be the last morning that I gotta be out here and deal with these pesky mosquitoes. Well, it's actually been a few weeks since we had our treatment with Terminix, and I'm happy to announce that everything here is going really well. Now, obviously during the day and in the mornings we're going to the new house, but we're still here in the evenings hanging out and trying to enjoy as much of the garden as we still possibly can. And it has been very enjoyable because we're not dealing with mosquitoes out here anymore. I have learned so much about mosquitoes since Terminix came out here, and the treatment has really worked. It's been absolutely amazing. We're actually able to come out in the garden, unwind here, relax, not get eaten by mosquitoes. So if we start seeing mosquitoes at the other property, Terminix will be the first number that I call. Now back to the rest of the video, but that's a real-time update. So before Terminix gets here and takes care of this mosquito problem, I'm really excited to say that we are doing a giveaway. This is the Pest 365, and Terminix is going to be giving away a year of pest prevention for your home. The giveaway ends August 17th, and one person will be winning a full year of pest prevention for their home. So make sure that you enter right now by scanning the QR code that is on the screen, or that you go to terminix.com/Robbie to enter into this giveaway. The link will also be in the description down below. I cannot wait for them to get here and take care of this mosquito problem. I came over here to grab the sweet potato vines that I want to get planted, and I wish that I was joking to you guys. There is a mosquito right there on the umbrella, and then there was just 3 more flying around in here. See, look at, there's one right there, and where did they just go? Yeah, look, they're flying around. They're just flying around in here. Look, there's one over there now. And we have this shade up because the plants were starting to get a little too toasty right there because it's so hot, and so we're having to come out and water like 3 times a day over on that side. The umbrella's made it so I can just come out and water in the morning time, and everything's been fine. I didn't even water yesterday actually, and everybody is looking very happy. But I'm gonna get some things planted today. My sprinklers just turned on, of course. So sweet potato vines, I'm very excited about these ones. I've got 2 of one variety, 1 of another variety, and I already have both of these varieties planted throughout the garden already in containers, but I don't have any in the landscape. So I'm really excited to get these ones in the landscape because I'm so impressed with these ones. We're gonna do the cutting back of the plants this evening. Mosquitoes, they're like out full force right now. I've already like smacked one off of my arm. And so I don't want to get in there and have to like dig around in plants and like fluff them up. I know that they live inside plants. And so I feel like if I get in there and start moving plants around, they're like, hey, you disturbed us. We're coming out now. So this is one of them. This is the Ipomea Medusa Black. It is so gorgeous. This one gets a decent amount of sun, and so it hasn't gotten super crazy. I have another one in the window box. Let me show you that one. This is the other one, and it's gotten a bit larger. I think this one just gets like a little bit more shade. Maybe this one gets, I don't know. They get slightly different light, but this one you can see it hangs below the window box versus this one hasn't even quite reached the bottom of the window box yet. But it's so pretty. It's gonna get about 12 inches tall, and then it can get up to 2.5 feet wide. So it's really good for like if you're wanting to put it in a container and have it like just trail down like this. But we're gonna try throwing one in the landscape. And then I have 2 more of these ones. This is the Bewitched with Green Envy. I have it in a container up in the driveway. It is stunning in that container. The leaves are massive on it. This one is on a little bit of a struggle bus because it's been in its container for a few months, and that's not great. That's my bad. But this one is gonna get about 16 or 18 inches tall, and then up to 2.5 feet wide also. So this one is, they're perfectly little, like, I think these are like Proven Accents. Is that what these are? Yeah, Proven Accents, which is a great name because these are kind of like literally like a perfect little accent plant to like tuck in. 2.5 feet. That's like a good size, but it's not like an overwhelming size. So let's go ahead and find some spots to go tuck these guys into the landscape because that's so pretty. Almost stepped on this guy. Excuse me. I think it's probably better if you make your way over there this morning. Thank you. I don't really like snails in the garden, but I just think that they're kind of cute, so I do have a hard time making them not exist in my garden anymore. I forgot to mention, these can handle full to partial sun. And the ones that I've got, I never thought sweet potato vine could actually handle full sun. And turns out they actually can totally handle full sun, especially where like I live, which is crazy because we've already had some days that have been like 100. I think we hit 108 already, 109 already. The greenhouse has hit like 124. So that tells you how hot it gets here. But my Medusa ones are in full sun now. They were planted originally in shade, and they're in full sun now. They get sun first thing in the morning to the very end of the day. They get like a full 10 hours of sun at least. And so they're doing really well. So I'm very optimistic that these guys can do full sun. So I think I'm going to put the Medusa Ipomea right there. I wanted something kind of low growing there, like ish. And that'll be perfect because the Bermuda Beach is just taking its sweet time filling in this year. And then I think we're gonna just tuck one of these right here because that'll fill out that entire location and that'll be perfect. And then the last one, there's kind of a lot of dark foliar growth in this bed. That's what we're gonna cut back this evening is the Boom Chocolate geraniums. But there's dark blooms, and then there's like some green right here from the phlox. I was thinking about sticking in there, but I feel like that would be the wrong choice because it'll be green on green. I feel like it kind of sort of needs to go over here. So we will cut back the geraniums and then I will get this one planted when we cut back the geraniums. I'm gonna give this a little drink of water though, because this one is slightly thirsty. Oh, good morning. Okay, we got both of those planted. I'm gonna save the other one for another project. I think I want to put it in a container, just kind of like by itself, maybe with like something that gets tall, but like, I don't know. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it for a container because they're so pretty in the container that I've got in the driveway. But the two of these are gonna be stunning. So this one, we just extended this bed, and I'm so glad that we extended this bed. It just feels more natural. I'm also really glad that we did like low edging right here, and then it like slowly goes into the super tall edging, and then it's really tall on the other side. But this one right here is going to fill out this entire area, no problem. And honestly, like, I expect it to start taking off pretty soon now that it's in the ground. They're pretty water hungry. I do give them a pretty hefty dose of slow release fertilizer. That's what I sprinkle in the hole. That's what's in my metal bucket. So this one got a pretty heavy feeding, and I did plant it right up against the scabiosa that's right there, because I don't anticipating it climbing up. I anticipating it coming out this way, kind of at a diagonal. And this is a full sun location, so this is really gonna test it. And then the other one, just on the opposite side, is right there, and that'll be fun. I do anticipate these guys kind of like wilting in the middle of the day and then picking back up, so they'll be beautiful in the morning. We're not out here in the middle of the day, so I'm not worried about the middle of the day. And then they should pick right back up in the evening time when they get maybe a little bit of shade on them. We'll see. I've never grown ipomoeas in full sun like this before. I think those are both full sun locations. I do kind of wish that those were green, because like those will just pop, where right now they kind of disappear and you notice them when you're up close to them. But when it was a more shaded area, it was really pretty, but you live and learn. But this one here is going to be really beautiful. I did have a dahlia in there, but I think that the ground is really, really wet. So we're gonna have to check on some irrigation, because the ground was soaking wet. I don't think it was wet. It was soaking wet. So this should be happier, because they don't mind a good amount of water. So now we're gonna wait for Terminix to get here to help with this little mosquito problem, this big mosquito problem. I already got bit once. It bit me on my neck. So that was fun. It's been insane this year, and I feel like we have tried absolutely everything. I've talked to you guys for months about everything that we've been trying on the property. We've tried everything. We've done some sprays. We've done insect repellent on us. We have done the like smoke coil things. A couple years ago, I did an entire container. I even put a video out about it, how I did like a mosquito container to help control the mosquitoes. I've grown citronella plants, and for me, they're an evergreen here. They're hardy. I think like someone's like 9 and above, and ours was like, I think it was like 2.5 feet by like 3 feet wide. It was huge, and did nothing. And I feel like these things like help for like a moment in these spaces, but realistically, I need a long-term solution, and I need something that's going to help with the entire property, not just like little sections where we're like sitting or something like that. They gotta go. So this is gonna be the solution to this problem. All right, you guys, Steven is here from Terminix, and he's gonna help us with the mosquito problem.
Good morning. Steven with Terminix out of Redding, here in Los Molinos, take care of the mosquitoes here. We're gonna do a walkthrough of the property, make sure the lawns are good, check for any hot spots, water sources, breeding sites, and make sure those are taken care of.
You brought a couple different things, so we're gonna possibly do like a spray and a dunk.
Absolutely, I have different sprays. I'll treat some foliage, the lawns, clear out the harbor spots, and then I have a mosquito. They call it a trap, but it's actually a breeding site contaminator, if you will, where the mosquitoes go there, lay their larvae, lay their eggs. Those ones don't hatch, and as those mosquitoes travel around different breeding sites on your property, it transfers that active ingredient and kind of takes them out that way.
That's exactly what we need. It's been pretty bad here. I already got bit this morning. We're trying to get out here about like 5 o'clock in the morning, because it gets so hot so early.
Absolutely.
And so we're getting out super early, or we come out super late, and that's like prime time for mosquitoes.
Right.
It's pretty bad.
Absolutely. They come as soon as the sun's coming up, as soon as the sun's going down, they'll come out and get you.
And that's me in the garden.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get your garden taken care of. We'll treat all the foliage. We're going to stay away from the flowering plants to protect the pollinators, but other than that, we'll get it taken care of.
Cool, thanks.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm gonna treat your lawn with what we call Suspend Polyzone. It's a strong repellent with a micro cap to keep this ultraviolet lights from breaking it down. And what it's gonna do is gonna create a barrier in this lawn for not only mosquitoes, but other general pest insects to keep them out. But this being applied will keep your mosquitoes from breeding and harboring in your lawn, and it'll keep it clear for quite a while.
And so once this dries too, it's gonna be safe for the dog and us to like be on the lawn and everything?
Absolutely. Almost everything I have on my truck is people pet safe once it dries. It just needs about 2 to 4 hours to completely dry before people or pets re-inhabit the area.
Okay, cool.
So in this area, I'm noticing you got a little bit of foliage down low. It's a really shaded area. It stays nice and cool for the mosquitoes. They like to nest, or not nest, but harbor on the bottom side of leaves where they can kind of hang out of the way in the shade during the day. So I'm going to go ahead and mist down this foliage since there's no flowers, nothing that can contaminate the pollinators or take away their food supply for this summer.
Okay, cool. This will be nice too because this is where we sit all day
Yeah,
long and all night long.
They will definitely smell you right when you get here from the O2 leaving your breath, and they will find you quick.
Is that how they find you? Is because of the oxygen?
Yeah, the oxygen or the CO2 that we breathe out, they detect that and
because they come out so quick once we're sitting here.
Absolutely.
I think this is the first year too that we've had such a bad problem with mosquitoes. We normally deal with them pretty bad, but this has been like the worst year.
It tends to be when we have the good, you know, May showers bring, or how do you say that?
April showers bring May flowers.
April showers,
yeah.
And we've had good on and off heat cycles with rain cycles, and it's just created a playground for these insects.
That makes the most sense.
Again, just watching out for the flowers because we respect our pollinators.
Love that.
And our customers' furniture.
Also love that.
Move with caution, absolutely. Nothing edible back here that I can
There's
contaminate?
nothing edible, no, so it should all be
Beautiful.
good, and none of these really have flowers on them yet.
Exactly. So this is going to be a good spot where I can get a very thorough treatment done. Not too many flowers to contaminate, no edible goods.
Nope, everybody should be good
Perfect.
back here. It's a lot of just foliar growth back here.
Absolutely. So we're just going to mist down the bottom sides of these leaves. Try to make sure to clear everybody out for you. Another good thing to keep in mind with your regular pest control is that during rainy seasons, the mosquitoes don't tend to fly. So there'll be even more on the bottom sides of the leaves. And that's a really good time if you have a service coming up in the rain, they can spray those bottom sides of that leaf with a green product. We like to use rosemary, geranium oil, stuff like that.
Okay.
And that'll help clear them out year round as well. That's good. Now I want to get a little bit of this low ivy because that would be
A hot spot for those.
really popular spot. Not a lot of wind movement, nothing to bother them. They can just sit there and hang out, wait for us to come, enjoy the backyard. There we are.
These are kind of the traps.
So they call it a trap, but essentially this contains two different active ingredients. One of them's a larvicide and the other one's actually a fungus, and it has a mesh net in it that'll go around this float. And when we fill this with water and install the float with the mesh on it, the mosquitoes will come in, hold on to the mesh, and lay their eggs in the water. But when the mosquitoes contact the mesh, it puts a fungus on their bodies that when they fly off to another breeding site, will transfer that fungus to those breeding sites. Also has a larvicide in there, so any eggs laid in here will never pupate. They will die before they become mosquitoes. And then as that mosquito travels to the other breeding sites, it'll transfer the fungus and the larvicide that will take out the other breeding sites, so it clears the whole property and potentially neighboring properties.
I think all my neighbors would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Kind of helps out the neighbors.
Yeah.
This is where the fun part is. There is 2 things in here and 2 ingredients. So that is the fungicide with the larvicide. And this is the little mesh that we want the mosquitoes to land on. And we'll just wrap this around the outside. This one slipped on its other anchor. About a 1/4 gallon shy of a full gallon. We will carefully take our mosquito net, place it in the water, and now we have a floating island for the female mosquitoes to land, get comfortable, lay their eggs in a beautiful pile of water, and then as those eggs hatch, pupate, larvicide kills those. No mosquitoes can leave this as adults, As the female mosquito flies off the mesh to go find other places to lay her eggs, that fungicide takes effect. We'll start killing her in a couple of days. In those couple of days, as she bounces around, as you can hear, there's fountains around us, other breeding sites potentially, she'll stop in those breeding sites, deposit a little bit of that fungicide and the larvicide, so that water source now becomes contaminated with those, and no mosquitoes can breed there either. So this one bucket will potentially take out any other breeding sites in the area, as long as that mosquito's bouncing around from site to site.
So essentially, the female mosquitoes will come in here and they will take the fungicide. They'll lay eggs in this, and that'll kill the larvae that's in there.
Absolutely.
But then she'll also take the fungicide that's in that over to any other potential breeding
due
spots.
to a static electric charge between the female mosquito and this mesh in here, the material will statically stick to her legs and body, and as she moves into other places and dips in the water, it'll release some of that in there. And then the fungicide, again, will start to take a hold of the mosquito, and usually within 2 to 3 days, that mosquito will pass away. And then the fungicide keeps carrying on to the next generations.
That's really exciting.
It is really exciting. It's actually a product that keeps producing for other spots around the yard. Absolutely. And now we can place our mosquito trap, as they like to call it. We're going to pick this back corner because it's a popular seating area. And as we spoke about earlier, it's a really hot spot with all the shade and all the foliage for these mosquitoes to harbor.
They should find it pretty quick.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to set it behind this chair. It's not an ugly looking device, but nevertheless, I like to keep stuff
Hidden.
out of eyesight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Just let it do its job in the background. Absolutely.
I definitely thought they were going to be more like ugly looking traps. So
No,
that's kind of nice.
they're rather sleek looking in design. Absolutely. Another note, this is a really good product because it is considered a green product that doesn't have any harsh chemicals. It doesn't have any harsh products that you have to cover everything with. This does its own job and just stays in the background.
So is this something that eventually we'll have to touch up on water?
Yes, it is something you want to check every once in a while. I'd say especially out here every couple of months. Just kind of pop the cap, look in there. If you got to add it a little bit,
Okay.
just bring it back up to where it's at now. Island's floating good. I'm going to go ahead and take this one behind the shed. Lots of foliage back there, lots of harborage. Also has potential for a little bit more standing water, being an area less traveled.
There's definitely a lot more standing water back here, so that'll help.
So this is a perfect location because, as we touched on, not only will this product take care of the mosquitoes, but any other breeding sites back here are going to be super easy for her to jump on and spread the product. We'll just go right back here.
So we were just kind of talking about why like DIY methods don't typically work all that well.
Right.
And you were kind of saying that they're just not like super strong.
Before pest control, I had a life doing other things, and I tried every over-the-counter candle, bracelet, citronella this, and nothing seemed to work. So when you get into the professional pest control, we have products and tactics and trainings that kind of teach us their harborage spots, where to look, what to do. And then again, those products that aren't necessarily over the counter for safety reason, again, with the pollinators that we can spray things and treat things.
Yeah, because you guys know what to spray, what not to spray,
what to
how to spray properly.
when to spray, how to spray, wind conditions, drift conditions, stuff like that. Absolutely.
Because we've definitely tried everything, and this was the year that we were like, this is getting too out of hand.
Absolutely.
We
had a good spring with lots of rain and lots of sun, so it brought out a lot of insects.
Yeah.
And having a regular service where they know where to look, where to find, they can do inspections, find standing water, because there's always an old watering can or truck tire behind a shed somewhere.
There was a little pot behind our greenhouse, and I was like, "Ooh, that's full of water," and I dumped it over, and I could see the larvae.
Absolutely.
And I was like, "Wow!" It was small too. It wasn't much bigger than like this little planter right here, and
an empty solo cup can become a breeding site. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So there's a lot of parts of properties that we search and check and make sure everything's under control.
Cool. So we should be good for about a year.
So with the foliar treatment, that is good for 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Again, I used a microcap product, so it kind of withstands the sunlight a little bit longer and keeps the mosquitoes away and other insects like that. As far as the mosquito traps, those are supposed to be good for 6 months. I would check it every couple of months on the water just because the heat around here will evaporate everything
really
except
quick.
for the breeding sites.
Of course. So we'll get through this crazy time because I mean they're spring through summer. They kind of like slow down.
Absolutely. So topping it off right before next spring, you should be good.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
All right.
Steven just left and he was so knowledgeable and so patient with my questions. And I have such a huge sense of relief knowing that we're safe and that Freya is safe from viruses spread by mosquitoes. I didn't quite realize it was as intense as it is actually. So I have a huge sense of relief knowing that Freya can be out here and she's not going to get bit by mosquitoes because I was seeing them on her. So it was becoming a problem here. So I'm really glad that Terminix came out and that Steven came out to help me out with this issue that we're having. It's no longer going to be an issue. You know, I had known that you can get like West Nile virus from mosquitoes. There was a case last year in our county of somebody who got West Nile virus, but I didn't know that dogs can actually get heartworm from mosquitoes. And so I'm really glad that we sprayed now. I'm gonna let everything dry for a few hours. He said that I need to give everything a few hours before it is people safe, pet safe. And so everything's gonna have a few hours. Freya will not be outside. I'm probably not gonna let Freya out just to be super safe until this evening, which is realistically when I plan on coming back because now the sun has totally touched the garden. It was also nice to know that the spray that he sprayed is UV resistant. So I've talked about that with other sprays that we've used for like when we treat budworm in our garden. So we spray like BT, and that BT, you have to spray it at nighttime because the UV rays quickly break it down and then it no longer works. So this stuff has something in it to be able to make it so that way it can be sprayed during the day and the UV rays aren't going to immediately break it down. So that's also super helpful. And I'm really excited about those dunks that he brought, especially because we could have one of them right next to where we sit. So we'll be back this evening when it's cooled back down in the garden and it's not in full sun, and we're gonna cut back those geraniums. And then I think that's gonna kind of be a wrap on the day, and I won't have a mosquito problem. Some plants will be cut back and some plants will be planted. That's a great day in the garden. See you in a second. And we're gonna start cutting some things back. Well, it's officially the end of the day, meaning I can get back in the garden now. It's still extremely hot out here, but but we're on a little bit of a cool down right now, so I'll take it. It's in the 90s. Anyways, we're gonna cut back the Boom Chocolata geraniums, but while I do that, I wanted to tell you guys about something kind of exciting. So these are my hardy geraniums. They've given me a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flush of blooms, and then the blooms flopped. Some salvia both fell on top of them, but you can see here are the blooms. I am wearing gloves because they are so sticky. It's not even funny. But we're gonna come in here and we're gonna just cut back all of the bloom spikes. So like this one doesn't really have that many bloom spikes. And so I'll just cut this one stake. I'm actually probably going to leave this one because this one, no, these are the last blooms on it. I'm gonna cut this one off also. There's one more bloom to open and that's it. So I'm gonna just come in here, cut these off, and then I'll just be left with foliar growth. And if I'm really lucky, these will flush for me with another set of blooms here pretty soon. It's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna show you guys kind of above the plant, but you're gonna just come in here and you're gonna just cut off the stems off of it. If you're really particular, you can go down into the plant a bit, and there's still a stem right there, but you could cut it all the way down at the base. I just can't show you that on video, so I'm not doing that. But then what you're left with is just the foliar growth of the plant. I have so many bloom spikes that I really need to cut. So I'm just gonna get in here and cut these out really quick. But I thought that I would tell you guys while I'm doing this, something really exciting, that Terminix has decided to do a giveaway, which is amazing. This is the pest-free 365 giveaway, meaning that they're giving away to one person 365 days of preventative pest treatment for your home. All you have to do is go to the link in the description of this video or scan the QR code that's on your screen to enter into this giveaway. No crazy rules or anything like that. But if you're dealing with pests in your home or garden, this is gonna be a really great way to get on top of that. And I love to do a little giveaway. And I also love that I'm out here, knock on wood, I don't see any mosquitoes flying around yet. It's still close to the end of the day, but I'm not seeing anybody fly around right now, which feels so good. I'm out here and it's warm, and that's my biggest problem, which I'll gladly take that if everybody out in my garden is super safe. So the giveaway is set to end August 17th, and then the winner will be announced just a few days after that on the website. So make sure that you enter, because who couldn't use preventative pest control? I know that we deal with a lot of pests being out here in the middle of nowhere, and so pest control is actually something that we have happen every single month just to keep up on pests in our garden. So I'll say too, I never really noticed too much of a smell on these geraniums, but now that I'm getting in here and I'm doing a lot of cleanup on these, I'm noticing that geranium smell that I really truly am not a super big fan of. Geraniums kind of have a smell to them. I don't know what that smell is. Some people really like it. It's a no for me though. But these ones are just too pretty to not have. I really am a huge fan of these geraniums. So I think I've got these geraniums cleaned up now. That's exciting. And I already see another flush of blooms forming on these guys. So that is a lot better, less messy. I need to get in here and probably clean the scabiosa up a little bit, but you can see on this geranium, see all of that right there? That is new growth, and those are a second set of blooms coming, which is really exciting. It's already pushing them. Oh, I gotta get in here and clean up the backside of this plant. I'll go ahead and clean the backside up. I totally ignored it, but you can see those look so much better. And honestly, the foliar growth on them is so pretty. It's so interesting. Oh, look, this one's already setting up another flush of blooms too. How exciting. You can also see, I'm getting my hands so sticky. Good thing I wore gloves. But you can see at the base, see all of that? That is all new growth, and some of those will be new bloom spikes. So I'm gonna get a second flush of these a lot sooner than I thought. Well, we got some sweet potato vines planted. We got the geraniums all cleaned up in the garden. I didn't have to swat away a single mosquito this evening, which is probably the highlight of my evening. And Terminix came out and took care of our mosquito problems. I am so excited to just kind of like update you guys with how this works in our garden. I already couldn't be happier. I'm already obviously seeing results. I didn't feel a mosquito. I didn't see a mosquito this evening. The spray worked instantly, and the bait is going to help long-term down the road should this continue to be an issue, because mosquitoes don't just stay in one fence line. So if I've got them, I know my neighbors have them, and they will make their way over here, but I can do some treatments to help make sure that I'm slowing down that mosquito population. So a huge thank you to Terminix for sponsoring today's video and helping with our mosquito infestation. I appreciate it. I know Brent appreciates it. And I also know that Freya will appreciate it. So if you are interested in having a Terminix technician come out to your home to help with pest treatments or preventative measures, make sure that you click the link in the bio, or you can scan the QR code that is up on the screen right now. Thank you so much for visiting our garden. I hope that you enjoyed it today. I hope you learned something new. I learned so much today. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.